Welcome back to Code Essentials. Today I'll be showing you how to create a to-do list application with just HTML, CSS, and plain JavaScript. So you're not going to use any JavaScript framework or library like React, but you are just going to write JavaScript code plainly. So let me show you our application that we are going to build. You can see I have my application here with the title, my to-do list, and then we have the input field where we can type in something. I can say if I want to add something to the list, I can say add something to the list. Then I click on add. Then you can see the item is added to the list. Another thing is that I can delete the item that I've just added, and I can also delete the default list items. If I try to add something without typing in the input field, you can see I can get I get the prompt here, or the alert that says you must write something to the input field, or you must type in before you add to the list. Another thing is that we can check this item. If let's say you have completed your task and you want to check it, you can click on check, or just click on the item, then the check functionality will appear, and this shows that maybe you've completed these tasks or you don't want to do them anymore. After that, you can still delete the items. If I try to refresh this page, you can see we still have our default styles, that these are just created using HTML. So these are the lists. If you add something in there and you add, you can see it is added. You can see click, as just we have said. So the first thing we need to do here is to install Node.js. Head over to nodejs.org, download the latest version, of the version you that will appear there. Then download Node to your operating system, whether Windows or Linux or Mac, and so on. So to check, after you've downloaded the Node.js, Node.js is an open source cross-platform JavaScript runtime environment that will help us execute JavaScript code. So download and install. Then to check if you correctly install Node.js, you can type in cmd or command prompt and say node -- version, node -- version. When you click enter, you can see the version of Node that you've installed. So mine is Node version 18.16.0. Okay. Now another thing is you can download Visual Studio Code. So you head over to visualstudiocode.com, and you can download the version of your operating system. So download for Windows, or you can download for Mac or Linux. Okay, after that, what I'm going to do is head over to my desktop and create a new folder and say to do application. I can say to do application like that. Then open a new window for my Visual Studio Code. So file, new window. I can minimize this. Then what I'm going to do is I drag this new folder into my Visual Studio Code. Can maximize that. So the first thing I'm going to do is to create the index. So yes, I trust the authors. Create the index.html like that. Then I type in HTML5, this one, or maybe the boilerplate like this. Then I can have the HTML boilerplate. So I can clean up the comments like this. Okay, if you type in HTML5 and you can't find the boilerplate, that means that you have not installed HTML boilerplate, right? So HTML boilerplate is here. You can install this extension. Another extension we are going to use is the live server. So search live server extension, and also you can install this extension. This will help us reload our or refresh our page just automatically. Okay, now back to the HTML5. In here, I'm going to type in a div, and this div is going to have the class of, I can say, header, right? And this div is having an h2, just as you saw in our finished project. The h2, we can give it an inline style with, you can say, margin, you can say 5 pixels, something like that. Then it is saying this is my to-do, list, yeah, like that. The next one is the input. So I say input, input, and the input is the text, and it has the ID of my input, and also the placeholder that says the title, and this is going to be the title of your list or your item in the list. Okay, the next one is the span. This is going to be the add button, so I can say span and add. Then the span is going to take the on click element or the on click event. So on click like that, and this is going to take the function that we shall create later. This is the function will be new element, yeah. So we're going to execute this function like that. So I can delete this one and have it there. Okay, so span, on click, new element, and it also have the class of add btn add button, right? Okay, the next item in our HTML file is the list. Now our default list, say ul supposed to be ul, then li, right? The li, I can say hit the gym, then I can test this several times. Then I say the second one is organize my office. The next item in the list is pay bills. Say pay my bills, right? Pay my bills. The next one is meet, let's say meet Louise. So meet Louise. And the next item in the list is buy fruits. Then I can add one more and then say maybe read the book, right? Then I can also add the ID here and say ID my list, ID my list. Okay, so right click here and open with live server. Make sure you've installed just as I told you. Open with live server. Then we have this one here. So this is our default list. This is my to-do list. This is our title. We have the input field. We have the add button. Okay. Now the next thing is now to give the styles. As you can see, our finished project, we have the styles. We have different colors when we hover over these. Well, the add button also has a different background color. We have the text transform, uppercase. We have these buttons. These we are going to generate them dynamically using JavaScript. And you can also you can see the input field. I'm not going to write the CSS, but I will go to my finished project and copy everything here and come back to my current project, then create a new file that says styles.css, then paste it there. So we start with the first one is the body, margin 0, mean width is 250 pixels. Then everything in that web page, the box sizing is border box. The header class, this is the header. You can see we are styling now the div. The background color is this one, padding, color of the text align, font family. Now to the font family, this is where I want to show you. To the font family, head over to your browser and search cdnfonts.com. So head over to cdnfonts.com, come here to the search bar and type in italics. I want to use the italics font, so type in italics and you can choose on whatever type of the italics you want to use. So for me, I want to use the Sophia here, so click on Sophia. To use this, you can see we've been told that to embed your selected fonts into a web page, copy this code into the head of your HTML document. So we have standard, the import, and now the specifications you want to use in the CSS. So I'll copy this, the standard one, copy the link, or you can highlight and copy, come back to my HTML file. Down here, I can type in CDN fonts, then I paste the link there. The next thing is to connect my HTML file with the style.css. So here I can say styles.css down there. Now we transform the text to uppercase. So here the font family is this one. After you've just copied the link, go back and copy the font family now, the CSS specifications. So copy this font family, Sophia sans serif, come back to your file and paste it there. Okay, we are also setting the text transform to uppercase. So the header, as you can see, in our finished project, you can see we have the my to-do list capitalized, and also the add button text is also capitalized. Okay, the next one is the header after the content display, and clear the header inputs. Now the inputs that we want to use, we also still want to use the font family there. The add button. Now our button is, you can see we have the background color, this one, and the color of the text, and also the text align, the font, the transition, the border radius. There's nothing new here. The add button on hover. We move on to our ordered and the list now. We still want to use the font family there, and so on. So here on our list, you want to change the list on hover, and also when we want to have different colors to the to the list. Okay, now the list, when we check the list, this one we shall implement using JavaScript, but just to show you in our finished project, when we click here, you can see we have the checked item in the list, and also the background color still changes. So this is what we are doing here. The background color changes to this one, and the text will change to white, and the text decoration line through, so the line will be stuck through the text, right? Okay, the next one is now the before. You can see we have this, and we want to rotate this 45 degrees. The next thing is the close button, or the close class. You cannot you can see we haven't written anywhere the close class, but we shall implement this using JavaScript. Okay, so these are the stylings. The code will be the link to the code will be down in the description to my GitHub page. Okay, the next thing we are going to do is now write our JavaScript code. That is the main thing here. So I'm going to write index.js like that, then come back to my index.html file and write index.js, so that I connect my HTML file with the JS file. Just to show you what we've got in our new project. So this was our final project, this is our new project. You can see if we try to add something, nothing. If we type in and also try to add, nothing. There are no close buttons to our default list. So these ones, we are going to write them using JavaScript. Okay, I did forgot something here, just a minute. Okay, I want to change the title to my to-do list application, like so that it also appears here. Okay, now let us embark to writing JavaScript code. The first thing we need is the function. So I say function. The function is the new element. These are function. So function new element. Then I say let li equal document dot get, not get but create element li. The next one is let input value be equal to document dot get element by id, and our id was my input. Then we say dot value. So whatever the value that we shall pick from the inputs. So dot value. The next one is now let t, this is just a name to the variable, document dot create create element, not element but create text node, the input value. Then we say list dot append child, list dot append child t. Then we say if the input value, if the input value equivalent to empty, the equivalent has 3. If it is empty, we say alert. We want to alert the user that at least write something to the input field. So please enter, please type what, type something to the input field, okay, like that. If that is right, then we say else document dot get element by id. Then our id was so the id was my list. You can just copy that, so Ctrl C, then I say Ctrl V, right? My list dot append child, this time round is the list, right? After that we say document dot get element by id. Where is id? Get element by id, and the id is now my input dot value, right? Dot value equal to an empty value. Okay, now the next thing is to add the close button to every new created item that we want to add to the list. So I can say add close button to the new created element, in the, what am I doing, in the list, right? Then I say let span equal document dot create element, and the element is span. Then I say let txt or the text equal document dot create text node, and this one is going to be the button. So I say U00D7, right? So these are close button. Then what am I doing here? The next one is span. So I say span dot class name equal to the close class. So this is what I was telling you while we were here in the CSS file. So this is the class. This one here is what we are creating now using JavaScript. Then the next thing is the span dot append child, and this one is the text. Then span not span but list, the list dot append child, then we say span. All right, then I can say for, I write a for loop here and say for I equals 0 and I is less than close, I is less than close dot length, then I plus plus, then we say close, or is it close, then we pick the I dot on click is equal to a function. The function is empty, and then we say let the div equal to this dot parent element, this dot parent element, then you say div dot style dot display is none. All right, then the next one, now we move outside the function and say now we want to create the close button and append it to the default. So to each default item in the list, right? So to each default item in the list, then I say let my list node be equal to, you can see I say my list node equal to document dot get element by ID, not ID, by tag name, and this time is the list. Then I can say for let I, so I can say for I equals 0 and I is less than my node list dot length I plus plus. right? Then I can say let. So this is my list node dot length. Then I can say let span equal to document dot create element, and the element here is span, right? The next one is let txt, let text be equal to document dot create text node, and still we are doing the same thing. We are adding the close button to the list. So u00d7, and we need a backslash here. All right, then I can say span, just as we did, span dot class name equal to close, right? Then I say span dot append child, and this is the text. Then I say my list node, I take the I in the list, then I say dot append child, then I take the span. All right, okay. The next one is, now I want to add the close button to the current list. Yeah, this was the default list. I want to add to my current list. So I say click on the, not to add but to click, when you click on the close button, then you want to hide or delete the item in the list. So I say click on the close button to hide. I can say to hide, or you can say delete the item in the list. All right, then down there I can say let close be equal to document dot get element by id, not by id but elements by class name, and the class name we see is close, right? Then I can now again create the for loop, say for I is equal to 0 and I is less than close dot length, then I plus plus. Then I say close, and we take the item, and I say dot on click equal to the function still empty. Then you say let the div be equal to this dot parent element, and I also say div dot style dot display is equal to none. All right, then the next one, which is the very last, so I say I want to add the checked symbol to the list, on clicking the item. Okay, so add the checked symbol to the list on clicking the item. So I say let list be equal to document dot query selector. I want the query selector, I want the list, the unordered list. Then I take the list dot add event listener to the list on click. Then I want to have the function, and the function we take the event. I can say event. Then inside the function we want to say event dot target dot class list dot toggle. We want to toggle the checked class, right? Like that. Oh, this is the function event. I think I need to write the if statement first. So down there I can say if event dot, what is this? Say if event dot target dot tag name, tag name is equivalent to the list. Then I want to set event dot target dot toggle event dot target dot class list. I think class list dot now toggle. Then I say checked, right? If so, then I can say false, like that. Okay. Now let us try to see this, how it looks like. Let us see how our application looks like. So this was our final, this was our previous project, our demo project. These are final project that we are just created. So as you can see, I can delete the items from the list, right? If I try to refresh this, then I still have my default list. If I try to add something without typing the item in the text field, then I get this prompt message that says please type something to the input field. Okay, so I click OK. If I try to add something, so I say try to add something. Try to add something to the list. Try to add something to the list, and I add. You can see I have my item there, so I can add as many items as I want to the list, and still I can delete these items from the list. If I click on the item, I can check the item to show that maybe I've already completed the task, or the item is already done or completed. And you can see also the color changes to what we set in our CSS. So this means that everything is working fine. This is the application that I wanted to show you. This is just a beginner project to-do list, but hopefully there are some things that you've learned and added to your skills. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to Code Essentials, and I'll see you next time.